I discovered my sister was secretly dating my ex-husband to steal my inheritance. I never imagined that the two people I trusted most would betray me in the same way. My ex-husband and my younger sister. Even now, saying those words out loud feels unreal. If someone had told me a year earlier that my own sister would secretly date the man I spent 8 years married to, I would have laughed and called them crazy. But life has a strange way of revealing who people really are. And sometimes the truth is far uglier than you could ever imagine. My name is Claire, and this story began 6 months after my divorce. Daniel and I had been married for nearly 8 years. Like most marriages, ours wasn't perfect, but I genuinely believed we were happy. We owned a nice home. We had stable careers. We spent holidays with family. From the outside, we looked like a normal couple building a future together. But sometime during the last year of our marriage, something changed. Daniel became distant. He spent more time on his phone than talking to me. He worked late almost every night. Whenever I asked what was wrong, he would smile and tell me he was just stressed. I wanted to believe him. So I did. Because that's what people do when they love someone. They trust. They ignore warning signs. They convince themselves everything is fine. Then one evening, completely out of nowhere, Daniel sat me down and said he wanted a divorce. No counseling. No discussion. No effort to save our marriage. Just a cold, emotionless announcement. I felt like the floor had disappeared beneath me. I kept asking why. What happened? Could we fix it? But he had already made up his mind. Within a few months, the marriage was over. Oddly enough, Daniel didn't fight me on anything. He didn't argue over money. He didn't try to claim the house. He seemed almost eager to leave. At the time, I thought it was guilt. Looking back, I realized it was something else. He already had another plan. After the divorce, I struggled. Some days I barely got out of bed. Other days, I forced myself to smile and pretend I was okay. The one person who seemed determined to help me was my younger sister, Emily. She called constantly. She checked on me every day. She invited me out for coffee. She listened whenever I cried. She told me I deserved better. And honestly, I was grateful. I thought I had at least one person I could still trust. I had no idea she was hiding a secret. The first clue appeared during my father's birthday dinner. The entire family was gathered around the table. Everyone was laughing and sharing stories. At one point, Emily's phone rang. She immediately stood up and walked into another room. That wasn't unusual. What caught my attention was the smile on her face. It wasn't just happiness. It was excitement. The kind of smile people have when they're talking to someone special. When she came back, she seemed nervous. Every time someone asked about the call, she changed the subject. I noticed it, but I ignored it. I wish I hadn't. A few weeks later, I was walking through downtown after shopping when I noticed a familiar figure entering a restaurant. It looked like Emily. Instinctively, I smiled. I was about to wave. Then I saw who was walking beside her. Daniel, my ex-husband. I froze. For a moment, I thought it had to be a coincidence. Maybe they had run into each other accidentally. Maybe there was an innocent explanation. Then they sat down together. And Daniel reached across the table and held her hand. I felt physically sick. My own sister, my ex-husband, sitting together like a couple. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I turned around and walked away before they could see me. The entire drive home, I tried convincing myself there was some misunderstanding. But deep down, I already knew the truth. Over the next few weeks, I started paying attention. And once I did, everything became obvious. Emily suddenly became secretive. She canceled family plans. She ignored calls. She always seemed busy. And every time Daniel's name came up in conversation, she looked uncomfortable. Then something happened that changed the entire situation. My grandfather passed away. The news devastated our family. He had built a successful business from nothing and spent his life providing for everyone around him. While discussing funeral arrangements, conversations eventually shifted toward his estate. That's when I learned something I hadn't fully understood before. Years earlier, my grandfather had transferred a significant portion of his company's shares into my name. At the time, it was simply part of succession planning. I had spent years helping him manage certain aspects of the business. The shares had grown dramatically in value. They were now worth far more than I ever realized. And suddenly, a terrible thought entered my mind. What if Daniel knew? What if Emily knew? The timing was impossible to ignore. The divorce. Their secret relationship. The inheritance. The pieces were starting to fit together. But I still needed proof. And proof arrived sooner than expected. One evening, a friend sent me screenshots from social media. Emily and Daniel had attended a private charity event together. Apparently, someone had posted photos of them online. Photos showing them holding hands, smiling, acting like a couple. But it wasn't the photos that caught my attention. It was the comments. One person jokingly wrote, "Looks like Emily hit the jackpot." Another person replied, "Not if Claire gets the inheritance first." The moment I read those words, my stomach dropped. This wasn't just romance. People already associated their relationship with money. The next day, I invited Emily over. I didn't tell her why. When she arrived, I placed the screenshots on the table. Her face instantly lost all color. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then she admitted everything. She confessed she had been dating Daniel for almost a year. Almost a year. That meant the relationship had started before my divorce was even finalized. Possibly before Daniel had asked for one. The betrayal was overwhelming. But then she said something that made everything worse. She insisted they were in love. She claimed they never intended to hurt me. That feeling simply happened. I wanted to believe her. For one brief moment, I almost did. Then I mentioned my grandfather's inheritance. The look in her eyes changed instantly. Just for a second. But it was enough. Enough to tell me everything. Later that week, I received confirmation. A family friend who worked with Daniel told me he had repeatedly asked questions about my grandfather's company. Questions about ownership. Questions about future payouts. Questions about inheritance laws. Questions no normal ex-husband should care about. At that moment, everything finally made sense. Daniel hadn't left because he wanted freedom. He left because he thought there was a bigger opportunity waiting. And Emily had become part of that plan. Whether she was motivated by greed, love, or both, I'll probably never know. A few months later, the estate was officially settled. The company's shares remained entirely in my name. Legally protected. Untouchable. Neither Daniel nor Emily had any claim whatsoever. And that's when their relationship began to fall apart. Almost immediately, the argument started. Friends began hearing stories. Accusations flew back and forth. And within months, they broke up completely. Funny how quickly romance disappears when money isn't involved. Eventually, both of them tried contacting me. Daniel wanted to explain. Emily wanted forgiveness. Neither got what they wanted. Because some betrayals leave scars that never fully heal. Today, I no longer speak to either of them. It wasn't an easy decision. Losing a husband hurt. Losing a sister hurt even more. But protecting your peace sometimes means walking away from the people who hurt you the most. The business continues to grow. Life has moved forward. And for the first time in years, I feel genuinely happy again. If this experience taught me anything, it's this. Money doesn't change people. It reveals them. And when the truth finally came out, both Daniel and Emily revealed exactly who they were. I just wish it hadn't taken betrayal to open my eyes.